Today, we're diving into a pretty radical idea for how we manage global conflict. It's a framework called Phoenix.
So, Phoenix asks us to basically flip the script on how we handle global tensions. It's all about shifting from just reacting to crises to actively regenerating and collaborating. Let's break down what that actually means.
So, what's the core problem Phoenix is trying to solve? Well, it all starts with the very systems we use to see and understand our world.
Okay, let's really dig into this idea for a second. The algorithms that run our news feeds, our markets, our social media, they're not just neutral mirrors reflecting the world. They're designed with a purpose, right? Usually to maximize engagement or profit. And in doing that, they're actively shaping what we see, what we believe, and ultimately how we act.
And the consequences of this are massive, especially when we talk about geopolitics. I mean, when our shared information space is totally fractured, it becomes almost impossible for nations to trust each other. Instead, what do we see? Polarization goes through the roof, international institutions are stressed to the breaking point, and misinformation just becomes a normal, everyday part of the conversation.
And this brings us to a really powerful metaphor. Right now, our global setup is like a planetary nervous system that's just broken. It's constantly sending out these faulty pain signals. It runs on a logic of fear and competition, where every move another country makes looks like a threat, and that just traps us in these endless cycles of conflict.
So, if the problem is a faulty global nervous system, the solution seems kind of obvious, right? Build a new one. And that's exactly where the Phoenix platform comes in. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this because it's absolutely critical. Phoenix is not a world government. It's not about creating some single top-down authority that tells everyone what to do. Think of it as a decentralized framework, a shared infrastructure where nations can coordinate while keeping their sovereignty. It's less like a central brain and more like the connective tissue of the planet.
And this really gets to the heart of it. The whole point is to create a system that can sense what's happening, learn from it, and adapt with compassion. It's basically an upgrade to our global operating system, one that moves us away from fear-based nationalism and toward a shared collective wisdom.
So, the takeaway here is this fundamental shift. It's about moving away from the zero-sum games that have defined international relations for, well, forever, and moving towards a model where we can actually work together on the big stuff, like climate change, resource scarcity, and global health.
Okay, so how does this new nervous system actually work? Let's start with the nerves, the part that senses the world. It's called the planetary sensoria.
You can think of this as the proactive early warning system. The idea is to create a shared real-time picture of what's happening across the globe by pulling together massive amounts of information into one coherent view.
So this system, called Pulse, pulls in everything from satellite data on deforestation to subtle shifts in the global economy. But look at that last point, early conflict signals. This is the real game changer. It's designed to spot the underlying drivers of tension, things like water scarcity or economic instability, before they blow up into a full-blown crisis. It lets us do proactive diplomacy instead of just reactive damage control.
And let's be really clear here. The point is not to spy on anyone. It's about giving every nation the same clear map of reality. Because when you have that shared awareness, you can move from constantly putting out fires to actually solving the problems that caused them in the first place.
Okay, so the planetary sensorium acts as the nerves, right? It's gathering all the signals. But what happens next? How does the system think? Well, that brings us to the mind of the operation, the synergy engine.
The synergy engine is basically a suite of advanced collaboration tools, and this is where AI really enters the picture. It uses things like AI-assisted negotiation to help different groups, especially nations that don't see eye to eye, find common ground and coordinate their efforts. So what does that actually look like? Well, imagine two countries are about to go to war over a shared river. Step 1. The synergy engine helps map out everybody's perspective. Not just we need the water, but all their economic, security, and even cultural concerns. Then, step 2. It finds the leverage points, the non-obvious win-wins. Maybe one country has amazing water purification tech and the other has access to cheap renewable energy. From there, step 3 helps them align on a shared goal, like a joint infrastructure project. And finally, step 4, it creates a feedback loop so they can learn and adapt. It's a structured way to turn a fight into a project. This slide right here just perfectly captures the whole paradigm shift. Traditional, fear-based diplomacy always asks who is right, which just leads to a zero-sum fight. But synergy logic asks a totally different question. What blind spot is this conflict showing us? It sees the disagreement not as a threat to be squashed, but as valuable information pointing to a deeper problem you have to solve together.
And this is the absolute core of the whole thing. The moment you reframe conflict as a signal, you change the entire game. In that river dispute, the conflict isn't a threat anymore. It's a signal that the current water system is failing both sides. The signal points you directly to the shared problem that demands a shared solution.
So what's the ultimate goal here? What's the end game? It's about getting beyond the fear that drives so much of global politics and building a system where trust isn't just something you hope for, but it's the default setting. And this isn't just about wishful thinking. The very architecture of the platform is designed to change the incentives. By making everyone's actions and justifications transparent, it becomes way harder for any one country to bully others or act in bad faith. Transparency becomes the norm, and that's the bedrock of trust.
You see, Phoenix treats trust like a piece of infrastructure that you have to actively build and maintain. And it uses concrete tools to do it: transparent logs of all agreements, AI that can spot bias in negotiations, and, this is huge, mechanisms that make sure the concerns of smaller nations are heard and not just bulldozed by bigger powers. It's all about getting past that fear-based nationalism.
This diagram kind of shows you how all the pieces fit together. You can see how nations are just one layer in a much bigger ecosystem that includes cities, local communities, and even bioregions, which are just areas defined by nature, not by political lines. It makes it really clear. This is not a top-down world government. It's a network designed to create global coherence while respecting local freedom.
At the end of the day, Phoenix is a framework for us to mature as a civilization. It's designed to help us unlearn all those reflexive, fear-based habits of competition and nationalism, and remember how to work together as one global community.
It's a pretty profound question to think about. The Phoenix framework doesn't pretend to have all the answers, but it offers a potential path forward, a new logic for a world that desperately needs one. Thanks for watching The Explainer.